starting Daf Zayin. Daf Zayin Amud Aleph. Okay. On the bottom of Vav Amud Bet. Amar Mor. We learned Aval Yamu Bek'a V'Ais Tevanit V'Karmelit Enan Lo Kirshut Yachid V'Lo Kirshut Rabim. Yam is the sea. Bek'a is a valley. Istevanit is the benches. V'Karmelit, we said, is coming to include, well, we're going to talk about that later. Enam lo kirshut yachid, v'lo kirshut rabim. Ubek'a, ena lo kirshut yachid, v'lo kirshut rabim. Are you going to tell me that a bek'a, that a valley where they grow produce and so on, they grow grain, is not considered a reshut yachid and not a reshut rabim? V'hatanan, I have a mishnah. What is it? Masechet Taharot, Perek Vav, Mishnah Vav, Habik'ah, or valley. Bimot Hamam, in the summer, Reshut HaYachid, LeShabbat. It's a Reshut HaYachid, Legabe Shabbat. Why? Because not so many people go off the path and take shortcuts. Few people, let's say, they walk through the field. Not enough to make it a Reshut HaRabim, a way where people walk through. The Reshut HaRabim leTum'ah. But when it comes to Tum'ah, it's considered a Reshut HaRabim. Why? Because there's some people walking through. Look in Rashi, Reshut HaRabim leTum'ah, V'svekot tahor, Tehalav makom stirahu. It's not a place that you could be alone. Sheyesh bnei adam nechnasim la. There's people going there. Why is that the criteria? The safek letum'ah letamem misota gamrinan la. We learn the rule that safek tum'ah b'rshut hayachid is tameh and b'rshut harabim is tahor. We learn that from sota. V'hatam stira ketiv. Over there by sota it says that she was alone. V'nistira v'hi netme'ah. The bimkom stira teme'ah hi leba'ala misafek. And it uses the term tameh to teach you that also by safek tumah b'reshut rabim also is tahor and b'reshut yachid is tameh. So we're gonna take the same criteria. The type of place that a guy would go to be alone with a woman would be a safek if she became tameh is a type of place that you're gonna say safek tumah b'reshut yachid is tameh. Once you have three people, that's one person too many, right?
Oh, so Yani, if she had somebody there, obviously she can't be sotah.
It's rough, you know. That doesn't work so well. No, meaning once there's another guy there, that's not a sotah. Right. There's three people, you know. I want two people. So over here, when in the summertime, when it's not full of crops and that it's already harvested, so people walk through the fields.
Shortcut.
People take shortcuts. Legabe Shabbat, it's not enough people. Rashi, the Gemara, the Braita says it's a reshut hayachid. But legabe tumah, it's considered a reshut harabim because there's enough people walking through that it's not a makom stira. And therefore, if a guy walked over, safek, if he walked over a grave or not, we'll say it's tahor, right? B'reshut b'imot geshamim, in the winter time when it's full of grain, people don't cut through. You're ruining the guy's thing, right? Reshut hayachid lekach ulkach. It's a reshut hayachid for both. So now we have a problem. We said that the Beka'ah is considered a Karmelit, and now we have this Mishnah. We have a Mishnah Masechet Taharot that says that the Beka'ah is considered a Reshut HaYachid. Mashma, what's the nafkamina? Two nafkaminas. One nafkamina is, can I carry in the whole thing? If I say it's a Reshut HaYachid, I can carry as much as I want. If I say it's a Karmelit, I can only carry in Arba Amot. Second nafkamina, can I carry from there to another Reshut HaYachid? If it's a Reshut HaYachid, it's mutar. If it's a Karmelit, it's asur. Third nafkamina, am I hayav if I throw from there into a Reshut HaRabim? If it's a Reshut HaYachid, if I throw from there into a Reshut HaRabim, I'll be hayav. If it's a Karmelit, it's patur aval asur. Says the Gemara, Amar Ula le'olam Karmeliti. Really, it's a Karmelit. Really, the Beka'ah is a Karmelit. Va'amai kari la Reshut HaYachid. Why does the Mishnah call it a Reshut HaYachid? Remember, where's this Mishnah? It's in Masechet Taharot. Their main point is to contrast Shabbat to Tum'ah. So they called it a Reshut Yachid, meaning it's not a Reshut Rabim. What are they going to throw in Carmelit? You don't have Carmelit by Tumah. You only have Reshut Rabim and Reshut Yachid, right? So they didn't use a foreign term, a non-tahara term. V'amai kari le Reshut Yachid, lefi she'en Reshut Rabim. Look in Rashi, le'olam Carmeliti. Vazorek mirshut rabim letocha eno chayav. It's not a reshut yachid that you're going to say if you throw in the chayav. It's not. It's a karmelit. Why they call it reshut yachid? Because it's not reshut rabim. Rav Ashi Amar. Rav Ashi says, kegon de'itle mechitzot. This is a unique type of bik'ah. This bik'ah has fences. Rashi. Kegon de'itle mechitzot. Vashmi'inan and the chidushes. The afal gav. Even though it's a very big field and it's bigger than 2 se'ah means the amount of space that it takes to grow a se'ah. A se'ah is 144. No, it's 144 betzim. Right? You have betzah, log. Betza log kav se'ah, right? So se'ah is 144 betzim. How much space does it take? It's scary to grow 144 betzim. Let's say is 288 ounces of grain. It takes 50 by 50. 50 amot by 50 amot. That's a se'ah. So the Mishkan, which is 100 by 50, right? The Hatzer of the Mishkan was 100 by 50. That's a bet sa'atayim. That's the area that you grow 2 sa'ah. That's how they measured land when you wanted to sell land. So it's a bet sa'atayim, a bet kur. That was the way they. Now you talk acres. I don't know what acres has to do with anything. They spoke about bet sa'atayim, the area that it takes to grow that. So we're looking at Rashi again. Kegon de'it la mechitzot v'ashmuin and da'afagav dehekefa yeter mi betza'atayim. Even though the perimeter, the whole thing is surrounding more than a betza'atayim. V'lohu kaf lidira, and that area was not surrounded for living purposes. Right? You have a yard in front of your house where you cook and you store things and you do things like a hosh. That could be as big as you want, because it's mukaf lidira. It's surrounded for living purposes. But if you have a yard that's not mukaf l'dira, it's for growing, it's for storage or that, then there's a limit how big the enclosure could be and you'll be allowed to carry. That limit is bet sa'atayim, 2 se'ah, 50 by 100 or 70 plus by 70 plus.
Even if it's fenced in.
It's fenced in. Right? Even if it's fenced in. Right? V'lo kaf l'dira she'em beto samuch la kodem ekef. Your house wasn't there when you surrounded it. Ule'enyan letaltel letocha have kekarmelit. When it comes to carrying inside that enclosure, it's like a karmelit kedamrin and be'eruvin. Like we learn in Eruvin, she'en metaltelim bo ele bedalid. You're only allowed to carry in that enclosure in 4 amot. Afilu hachi. Deoraita reshut hayachid. Midoraita it's a reshut hayachid vazorek mirshut harabim letocha hayav. So that pik'ah is a quasi karmelit. When it comes to carrying inside of it, we consider it a karmelit. But halachically legabe reshuyot, it's really reshut harabim. And if you throw from there reshut hayachid, if you throw from there to reshut harabim, you'll be hayav. So he says, Rashi says, kigon de'it lemechitzot. It has mechitzot. V'chihad amar ula amar Rabbi Yochanan, karpaf, a non-dira enclosure, yoter mi bet sa'atayim, that's bigger than 2 se'ah, shelo kaf dira, that wasn't surrounded for living, va'afilu kur, even if it's the size of a kur is 30 se'ah. Va'afilu kurayim, it's getting bigger. Hazorek letocho hayav. If you throw into it hayav. It's not mukaf l'dira and all that. My ta'ama mechitzahi. It has walls. Ela shemechuseret diyurin. It's missing people. It wasn't made for living. But midoraita, it's a reshut yachid. Has mechitzot. Rashi. Kid'ula. The Amar mechitza hi likrot reshut yachid. Ula says it's considered a mechitza to be called the reshut yachid. Ela shemechuseret ira. It's missing living. Lekach asura letaltel midrabanan. Therefore, the Chachamim said, since it's missing living, it's too similar to a reshut rabim, or it's not close enough to reshut yachid. We're going to say it's asur. If it has a wall, how is it reshut rabim? How's anybody walking through? So kigon sheyesh petachim b'mchitzotea. There's holes in the wall. V'nechnasim bezu v'yotzim bezu. They use it as a shortcut, but not so many people again. But the Gabe Shabbat, it's a reshut yachid. The Gemara says, Bishlamar Rav Ashi lo amar kid'ula. Fine. Rav Ashi didn't say like ula because he doesn't like it. He says it's not a reshut yachid. You're not going to call a karmelit a reshut yachid. It's just wrong. Ela ula, my ta'ama lo amar kishmate. Ula, you're the guy that says that a karpaf that's bigger than betzatayim is a reshut yachid. Why don't you say that the bik'ah has walls, and that's why they're calling it reshut yachid, because halachically it is. Amar lecha, ula will tell you, idi itla mechitzot. If it had mechitzot, bik'ah karile, karpafi. A bik'ah, by definition, is unwalled. It's very unusual to have a bik'ah that has walls. When it has walls, we call it a karpaf. It's the wrong term. Just like you're upset that reshut yachid is the wrong term, so is bik'ah the wrong term. Rav Ashi, reshut yachid katan. Rashi says, yeah, but it says reshut yachid. I'd rather have a wrong definitive term than a wrong halachic term. That's the mahloket. If it has walls or not, but that's more of a descriptive difference. Whereas if you say reshut yachid, you're telling me a psak that's wrong.
They still have the same stats. He can't do certain. He can't throw from one to the other.
Reshut yachid is not karmelit. Reshut yachid chayav. Karmelit, you'll never be chayav.
I'm saying a karpaf.
Karpaf is depending. It could be not, depending on how karpafi it is. If it's karpaft right or it's karpaft wrong. But it's a description of the thing. It's not halachic term. Karmelit. Now the Braita said you have yam, bik'ah, istivanit, ve'karmelit. We're discussing karmelit and you tell me karmelit, right? Atu kulu nami lav karmelit ninu. The ones we described until now weren't karmelits. Why all of a sudden? Why does this one zochet to the term karmelit? Right? Ki atarav dimi amar b'yochanan. He said the karmelit in the Braita lo netzrecha ela lekeren zavit asmuchal reshut rabim. To a corner that's next to the reshut rabim. So Rashi gives two explanations to what keren zavit is. Lo netzrecha Rashi, lo netzrecha karmelit katani, ela leosufe karmelit achriti, kegon keren zavit, shenechnas bo bayit letocho, ve'eniach mikarka'ol reshut rabim. So it seems from Rashi that you have three houses, and one house is recessed a little bit. Right? So as you're walking down the side of the Reshut Rabim, you have a little bit of you have a little area that you could walk in. It's not going to do you anything. You can't keep going down that path because it's going to end by the next house. So that area is a karmelit. It's not a Reshut Rabim because lo mistagi leleg. You can't walk straight through it. Rashi is going to give another explanation. Let's read it with the Gemara. So we say, "Ela lekeren zavit asmuchal reshut rabim." Da'afagav dezimnin dedachki berabim va'ayli legava. It's a really heavy traffic day, right? And you're walking, and there's this old lady carrying a bag, pushing the stroller with her friend, schmoozing. Then you're trying to get past, right? So finally, when you get there, you go around it, right? Dachki berabim va'ayli lehatam, right? Kigon deloni chatash mishteh. Kivan deloni chatash mishteh. Since practically it doesn't always have a purpose. Ki karmelit dami, so it's like a karmelit. It's not really a reshut rabim. It's like a reshut rabim. Rashi loni chatash mishteh she'en yocholim likanes la lahedya derech hilucho. You can't walk there because it gets blocked off. Another pshat of keren zavit. More, that one is not so much a keren zavit. It's not a corner. It's around the corner. Bayit shepanav omed ba'alachzon. This guy's house they built on an angle, so all the houses are straight, and his house is on an angle. So you have two little dips in there. Shezevito echat smucha l'reshut rabim, v'ashniya the second one mishucha m'reshut rabim. V'lefanim zavit haboletet. Now even to walk through it, the point in the middle me'akevet terabim ilekanes be'edya toch kenisa shel zavit acheri. You can't just go. You can't even go from one side to the other because the corner of the house that sticks out blocks it. Either way, it's not lo nichatash mishteh. So therefore, that's called the Carmelit. So we have an area on the side of the Reshut Rabim, even though there's nothing separating it from the Reshut Rabim. There's no wall, there's no mechitza, there's no anything. Even so, since it's not nichatash mishteh, since it's not easily walked through, it's considered a Carmelit. Right? So it's,
Dangerous. Do the people at the time know?
I mean,
like you said, if he's walking and then all of a sudden
he walks around, big deal.
going into a different zone, he's in a whole other area.
On Shabbat, he's not carrying in the Reshut Rabim. The question is only, will he be chayav if he goes from here to there? He has to know that he can't put something too amor from here to there. It's not a small, it's nothing. It's like a couple of amot here. And people don't walk there. You want it to be a mavoy? Either way, even a mavoy that's not mifulash is not a Reshut Rabim. Carmeli? That's what we said. It's Carmeli. But you might have said that this part people use for the Reshut Rabim. That's the chidush.
The illustration shows you what they're talking about.
What? That's the next one. You went ahead. Coming up. The polls are coming now. Right? Kiata Ravdimi. When Ravdimi came, Amar B'Yochanan, Bena Amudim, between the poles, Nidon ke Carmelit, is considered a Carmelit. My ta'ama, what's the reason? So what's between the poles? Of course, Bobby has a picture, but Bena Amudim, Shayu, not yet, Shayu Amudim Berochba. There were poles across the width of the Reshut Rabim. This is like in the shuk. Vetulim bahem atagarim pragmatia. And the merchants, they hang merchandise on them. Vegam itztibaot hayu lifnehem. They also had benches in front of the poles. Leshev sham atagarim. So that the merchants can sit and do the hawe with the nargila like we said yesterday. Right? So we... What? It's the Ba'ot himself of for sure, Carmelit. That's coming. But wait. I'm not by the it's the Ba'ot. I'm walking between the Amudim. I'm zigzagging between the Amudim.
They have these in all the European cities. They used to tie the horse.
This is a different item. Okay, let's see.
It's the same concept though.
Okay, Azal Baruch, let's see. So Amki Atar Ravdimi. When Ravdimi came, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Bena Amudim. Bena Amud.
No, there's poles lining the streets because they used to tie the horses to those poles in the old section.
It's a meter, like
No, they're not so short. They come up to your head.
Bena Amudim. Bena Amudim. Nidon, the Jewish people had poles for merchandising. The Goyim had it to tie their horses. Okay?
That's why the Jews have
Right. Bena Amudim. Shayu Amudim Berochba. They had Amudim across the width. Tolim by Matagarim Pragma. So if Dimi says, Ben Amudim Nidon ke Carmeli. My time. In the till now we're talking, it's off the Reshut Rabim, right? The Keren Zavit is a little bit to the side of the Reshut Rabim. Now we're talking, it's in the Reshut Rabim, but there's poles. So this area is not a smooth sail. You can't just walk. You got to dodge poles, right? Afagav the Darsi Barabim, even though everybody's walking there, Kivin dolo mistagi lehu behedya ke Carmelit damya. Since you can't walk straight, it's like a Carmelit. You can't walk easily. You know, sometimes you go in the city, there's the area between where the papers are and the mailbox, and then you have a parking meter and a muni meter section. You know, you're trying to get past the traffic, right? You're going like this. through the item over there. Yeah, okay, and I like to walk on the curb, but whatever. That's only safe. You walk on the curb and you get past all the people. Right? Kivan delo mistagilu lehedya ki karmelit damya. That's the first opinion of Rav Dimi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Amar Rabbi Zeira Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Zeira said, name of Yehuda, Itzteba shelefnei ha'amudim. The itzteba, the benches that are in front of the amudim, nidon ke karmelit, is considered a karmelit. So now is he adding or is he arguing? Right? So the Gemara says, Leman da amar ben amudim. If I say between the poles is considered a karmelit, kol sheken itzteba. Of course the itzteba is considered a karmelit. Because the itzteba you can't walk on. It's a bench. You can't walk on benches. Right? Let's say on Ocean Parkway, the benches themselves. No. The itzteba itself. I think it's the itzteba itself. Koshken itzteba. The bench itself is considered karmelit. Leman da'amar. You could sit on the karmelit. You could walk between the Shuta Rabim and the Shuta Yachid yourself. The question is, could you pick up your kid to put him on the bench? That's something else. But for you yourself to sit on the bench, well, come on, your kid sits on the bench too. You just can't pick him up. I took him from the Reshut Rabim and I put him on the Karmelit, right? It's just, and that's the Karmelit story. I could pick up my kid in the Reshut Rabim, right? And I could move him over, or I could hold him because I'm still in the Reshut Rabim. But once I want to put him on something that's not a Reshut Rabim, I want to put him on a Karmelit. I have a problem. That could be a problem. The kid wants to go on that item, not on this. He wants to walk on that thing.
First step,
Even if it's not, it's more than 3 tefachim. But since people can't walk on it, that for sure is a problem. What? In Mill Basin, you don't have benches. What? Right. You for sure can't put the kid on the ledge. Kid could go on himself. You're allowed to go on too. You can follow him. Okay. To pick him up? No. You hold his hand, then you help him up. No, you can't do that. Under 3 tefachim. It could be that the whole. It could be that the whole front yard is a karmelit. It's not people don't walk there.
All the kids do.
All right, that's that. I don't know if that's enough people. All the kids do. Okay, let's see. Kol sheken itzteba. They have a discussion bichlal if the sidewalk is considered part of the Shut Rabim, but most of the poskim hold in what's it called in the new book that came out, Joe Sutton and Ralph Gindy. They put a book, so they quote all the different machlokot. So they quote the sidewalks. I forgot who they quoted that it is Moshe that it is considered Shut Rabim because that's made for Hiluch Rabim. It's not. It's made for the people to walk. That's another question. According to Maran, simply you don't need 600,000 people. According to the opinion of Harambam, for example, Harambam clearly holds that you don't. That 600. He doesn't mention 600,000 people. According to Harambam, you just need 16 and more wide. You don't need 600,000 people. Tosfot yesterday quoted 600,000. Okay, let's see. According to Tosfot, your average street would not be a Reshut Rabim, correct? Unless you hold like Rabbi Feinstein, who has a chidush that once you have in the area 600,000 people, the whole grid becomes a Reshut Rabim. That's Rabbi Feinstein's big chidush in Reshut Rabim. What? Many people do. Some people don't. Okay. What? There's no city that on every street you have 600,000 people. But in Brooklyn, in a given radius, you'll have 600. Brooklyn has 3 million people. Manhattan has Manhattan. Right.
You ever been to Beijing? You know how big it is? It's tremendous. It's sprawling. Beijing is very, very big. Yeah,
Brooklyn is a big building. Go to Avenue K From Coney Island to East 17th, every single building is an apartment building full of people. Full of people. There's all the Ocean Avenue. The whole Ocean Avenue is apartment buildings. Oh, the whole building. There's a lot of places that you have a lot of people. Coney Island, a lot of the Coney Island, there's 3 floors of apartment buildings on top of every store. Add them up, you'll see. Add them up. Okay, let's go. The Gemara says, "Leman de amar itzteba hudoloni chatash mishteh." Aval ben amudim, but between the poles, the nichatash mishteh, that it's easy to use. It's because you can walk this, just not a straight walk. The zimnin de darisi larabim, when the in between the poles is crowded, they walk in there. Kirshut rabim dam yatzlai kirshut rabim. What's the halacha? It's a mahloket. The Rif doesn't paskin. The Rosh says halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan that Ben Amudim is a Carmelit. The Rambam paskins like Rabbi Zira Amar of Yehuda that Ben Amudim is a Rishut Rabim. I don't remember what Maran. I think Maran holds. I don't remember. Okay. Amar Abba Bar Shila. Amar of Hizda. Now we get into important understandings for carrying and throwing in the Rishut Rabim. Amar Abba Bar Shila Amar of Hizda. Levena zekufa b'Rishut Rabim. You stand the brick up in the Rishut Rabim. V'zarak, and he throws something. V'tach b'faneha, and it sticks to the face. So here's your brick standing up in the Rishut Rabim. You take something gooey and you throw it, and it sticks over here. So now it's a hayav. He says you hayav. It's considered that you threw it in the Rishut Rabim. Al gaba, if it landed on the top, patur. He's patur. Abaya v'Rava, the amri tarvayu v'hu shegavoa shelosha. In order to be patur, it has to be that it's higher than 3. The Lord darsi larabim, because people don't walk on it. Let's see in Rashi. Levena, stam levena, or haver hba gimel. In those days, there was a standard size for a levena. You probably have a standard size for a brick today, but a levena in those days was a 3x3. Right? Ve'en la'ovya shi'ur. The thickness doesn't have a thing. Yesh mehem avod, yesh mehem dakot. So he stood it up. So now I know it's 3 tall. V'tach al panea, and it's stuck on the face. Kigon de vela shemena, a fatty date, or teeth, or mud, hayav. Im zarak al ramot. If it went 4 amot, now this is considered landing in the Rishut Rabim. Ta'ave kimunach b'Rishut Rabim. Tekol lemata me'asara. Any air under 10 tefachim, Rishut Rabim is considered Rishut Rabim. Ubelvad shianuach lemata migimel dehave kekarka. Either it lands on the floor, but in a place that's under 3 tefachim, because up to 3 tefachim is all the very varieties of the ground. The ground goes up. The Gemara has a line. They don't plane the Rishut Rabim to make it perfectly smooth, right? Or ba'avir ki hagavna. Now, how does it land in the air where it's not in a karmelit? Because above 3 tefachim is already a karmelit or mekom petur. So he says the only way that you get it that it's up to 10 and it's not in a karmelit is if it doesn't land on top of the item, it lands on the side. On top of the item, that area will carve its own space out to either be mekom petur if it's less than 4x4, or karmelit if it's more than 4x4. But the side of the item, it's not on anything. It's landed in the Rishut Rabim. It's like it's landed down here. So I'm chayav. That's the chidush, but on the side. That's what. It's stuck. It's landed, right? We have a Mishnah later. Hazorek dalar amot bakotel. If somebody throws 4 amot against the wall, lemata me'asarat tvachim. If it's below 10, kezorek ba'aretz, it's like he threw it on the ground. Vechayav. Vechi amar, when we say lemata me'asara, pero havdalet karmelit. If it's below 10 and it's 4 wide, it's a karmelit. Uchshen rahavdal, if it's not 4 wide, mekom petur. Hainu betashmi shamsuyam. That's only when it has a when it has it's on the top, a usable area. Kigon gav levina, like the top of the brick. Virosh kotel, or the top of a wall, or amud, or the top of a pole. Tahani mistayem tashmishtari, they have a clear given use. Aval avir, kegon penea kotel, the side of a wall. The davara nidbak bo lo avir reshut lenafshe. The area where it sticks to, something sticking to it doesn't have its own reshut. Ela ilamata me'asara, if it's below 10 have reshut rabim gamur. Lemala me'asara, de lo shalti berabim. Have avira be'alma mekom petur. Like the Mishnah says later, if you threw it and it landed on the wall above 10, it's patur because it's mekom petur. Al gaba patur, continue, kidmuki la abaye v'rava, begavo sheloshat, 3 tall, de lo darsi barabim. Let's continue. So we say, if it lands on the side of the wall, it's landed in the Reshut Rabim itself and you hayav. If it lands on the top of the brick became a mekom petur. Abaye v'rava, hu shekavo shlosha de lo darsi barabim. Aval hizmi v'higi. But if you're talking about thorns, say you have a whole thorny area, people don't walk on the thorns. Afal gav de lo gavi shelosha, even though it's not 3 tall, he's going to be a karmelit. Why? Because people don't walk there. That's similar to the Itztaba or the Ben Amudim according to that opinion. It's not Yachid. Yachid needs walls, needs mechitzot. You're not getting that, right? So that's one. V'chia barava marafilu hizmi v'higi is considered a Reshut Rabim. Why? If the guy's wearing shoes, he walks there. Aval tzo'ah lo.
Nobody would ever.
Not in their right mind, right? Right. V'Rav Ashi amar afilu tzo'ah. Why? Because it doesn't have enough oomph to separate itself. Or I could walk over it. I easily walk over it. Rashi doesn't explain the tzo'ah one. He said, "Afagav de lo afilu hizmi v'higid darsi ale besandalehon, aval tzo'ah afagav de lav gavolo darsi ala." But Ravashi amar afilu tzo'ah. Why? He doesn't tell me. Kanere because you walk over it. Amar Rabba debei Rav Shila. I don't know. Doesn't seem like that, right? Good question. Amar Rabba debei Rav Shila. Ki atar Rav Dimi, when Rav Dimi came, Amar Rabbi Yochanan en karmelit pechuta me'arba'a. In order for a reshut to be a karmelit, let's say the gav levena, if it's less than 4, it's not a karmelit, it's a mekom petur. The Amar Rav Sheshat says, V'tofeset ad asara. The karmelit is up to 10. It grabs up to 10. My v'tofeset ad asara. What does it mean it grabs up to 10? Ilayma di'ika mechitza asara hu dahavi karmelit. Do you mean that it's only a karmelit if it has a wall of 10 to separate it from the reshut yachid? Ve'ilo lo ave karmelit. Ve'lo, is this true? V'hamar Rav Gidal. Amar Rabbi Chia bar Yosef Amarav. Bait she'em betocho asara v'kiruyoav mashlimo la'asara. You have a house that's not 10 tall. It's like a midget house. But the ceiling, right, you put beams on the top and then you put something on. So the ceiling itself gives it the 10. So if you measure it on the outside, you have 10 tefachim. On the inside, I have only 9 tefachim. Al gago mutar letaltel. You're allowed to carry on the roof because the roof is a reshut yachid. Why is it a roof for reshut yachid? Because it's like the top of the wall, the top of the gader. It has walls all around it, 10 tefachim. We'll say good ahit mechitzta. Lift the walls up and they surround it. Good asik mechitzta. Sorry. Right? So al gabo mutar letaltel bekulo. Betocho, inside, emetaltelim bo ele dalet amot. You only let it carry in the 4. So even though you're totally surrounded, it doesn't have a din of reshut yachid because it doesn't have mechitza asara. What? It's inside. It's like a crawl space type of area, right? They built a crawl space. They put the beams. So you have 10 on top on the floor, but underneath you only have 9. That, even though I'm totally separated and totally surrounded, it's a karmelit.
How are you extending the walls for the roof purposes, but not for the inside purposes?
And the inside doesn't have 10. Well, extend what you want. You don't.
Neither does the top. Neither does the top.
The top does. Outside there's 10. The roof is this thick, yeah? Under here is 9. So in here, what's 10? I didn't build the house yet. Either I didn't build the house yet or the house got knocked down. Whichever one you like. Okay? So now under here I have 9. Nothing helps for there. On top I have 10. So this wall, when I'm standing on top, I say Gudasik Mehitzta. I imagine the wall extending up. And this is surrounded. I'm standing within Mehitzot.
Why can't you imagine it extends down?
I can't imagine anything because the guy has, when he tries,
You have 10 up here, right?
Eli, when he tries to imagine, he bumps his head on the ceiling.
Inside.
Imagine your head into the ceiling. Okay, we'll talk more about it on Amud Bet. Wait. Right? But you see clearly that a karmelit doesn't need 10 tefahim. Because he doesn't have 10 tefahim of a mechitza. Ela mai v'tofeset ad asara. You know what it means? It grabs up to 10. The ad asara hu dahav karmelit. Lemala me'asara tefachim lo have karmelit. The karmelit itself, when you're in a karmelit, so we said in the karmelit, it's asur to go from to the Reshut Yachid and to the Reshut Rabim and so on. The karmelit itself only extends up to 10 tefachim. Like Reshut Rabim only extends up to 10 tefachim. The avir. Above 10, it's mikom petur. Even on top of a karmelit. Yeah. I don't know what it is on the boardwalk. It's not surrounded by walls, but right. So that's not going to be a Reshut Rabim directly unless you did something for it. But you're right. The space underneath, even if it was fully enclosed, if it's not 10, it would be a karmelit. It's a good example. 2 fences. 2 fences. What about others? So that's the question. So now, if I would say a boardwalk, if the fence, first of all, the fences have to be halachic fences, not just 3 things. It could be they are, could be they're not, depending on who built them. Assuming that you have 2 ends, right? It's like a short boardwalk type of area. Maybe it could be a reshut yachid if it's considered mukaf l'dirah, because generally the boardwalk area is going to be bigger than that bet sa'atayim that we mentioned. That's the question. Bet sa'atayim.
It's interesting because it's capped by 2 buildings. It's short, and on each side is a building that has doors that close, and then
So that you have to do.
You have bars on one side.
Let me throw out a question. We don't have time to stay on there because we got to finish the next side of the page. But what is a park considered mukaf l'dirah? What considers something mukaf? Do I need to have a house connected to make a park? You have a big park. You go to Marine Park. It's all fenced in. Could you carry your kid there? Has fences all around, but it's bigger than Beit Sa'atayim.
So you're saying it's like a big
Yeah, let's say. Maybe it's like a big Avenue P. Avenue P Park. Avenue P Park. It's bigger. It's bigger than Beit Sa'atayim. Could you carry your kid there? Question. Okay. What? Maybe kids playing is considered dirah. Maybe not. Well, that's the same question on the boardwalk. Okay, similar question on the boardwalk. Let's see.
Best thing is to live in Yerushalayim, you have no problem.
Right. The Gemara says.
Let's skip next message. Wait, make it too hard.
The ad asara hu davi karmelit. Lemala me'asara tvachim lo avi karmelit. V'chihad amalei Shmuel Rav Yehuda. Shmuel told Rav Yehuda, Shinina sharp one lo teheveh b'mili de Shabbata lemala me'asara. Don't be or don't think in things of Shabbat above 10. What do you mean? Lema yelcheta. Ilema, does he mean the end Reshut Yachid lemala me'asara, that Reshut Yachid doesn't extend above 10? It's not true. V'amar Rav Chizda na'atz kaneh b'Reshut Yachid. If you stuck a pole in the Reshut Yachid, v'zarak, and he threw v'nach al gabav and it landed on top of the pole, filu gavoa me'a ama, even if the pole is 100 amot tall, Hayav, Yechayav. Why? Mipnei Reshut Yachid ole ad larakia. So it's Reshut Yachid even up to the sky, even though you're above the Mechitzah, the Reshut Yachid goes all the way up. So it's definitely not doing Reshut Yachid. Ela de'en Reshut Rabim lemala me'asara. Did Shmuel tell Rav Yehuda that Reshut Rabim doesn't go above 10? Matnitini, that's a Mishnah, the Tanan. Hazorek dalar amot bakotel. If somebody throws 4 amot and it lands on the wall, lemala me'asara, if it goes above 10, tefachim kizorek ba'avir. It's like he throws in the air. Lemata me'asara tefachim kizorek ba'aretz, and he's chayav. So you see that the Reshut Harabim is only up to 10. Ela, he's talking about a Karmelit. The in Karmelit lemala me'asara. His chidush is that there's no Karmelit above 10. Ve'akilu barabanan, and the rabbis were lenient. Mikulei Reshut Yachid or Mikulei Reshut Rabim. From the leniencies of Reshut Yachid and from the leniencies of Reshut Rabim. What is that? Mikulei Reshut Yachid, diika mekom arba'a, hu davye Karmelit, ve'ilo mekom petur be'almahu. Right? Reshut Yachid needs to have 4x4. Less than 4x4, it's not Reshut Yachid. So when it comes to a Karmelit, in order to be a Karmelit, you need to have at least 4x4. If not less than 4x4, by definition is Mekom Petur. Second Kula, Mikulei Reshut Rabim. Te'ad asarat tefachim udavi Karmelit, lemala me'asarat tefachim lo ave Karmelit. Above 4 tefachim, there's no Karmelit. There's either Mekom Petur or Reshut Yachid or something else, but you never have a Karmelit higher than 10. No, the pillars might have been a Reshut Yachid. It might have been anything. Walking between the pillars was the question. No, we said between them. Gufa. Gufa, we learned. Amar Rav Gidal, Amar Rav Chia Bar Yosef, Amar Rav. We learned before, Bayit she'en tuchla asara. If the house is not 10, Vikiru Yav and the roof, Mashli Mola Asara, completes the 10. Al Gago on the roof, Mutal Taltel Bekulo. You can carry in the whole thing. Betocho inside, Emet Taltelim, boy, you can only carry Ele B'daler Amot, only 4 Amot. Amar Abaye, V'im Hakak bo Dalet al Dalet V'shli Mola Asara. If you went into the center of that home and you dug down till it became 10. So you made a square that's 4x4. 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. Make a hole. That area is 10. The rest of the house is all mutar.
Even though not the whole house.
Even though not the whole house is 10. Why? Right. Why? What's the lumdis? V'im hakak bo dalar v'shmas mutar tel b'chulon. My ta'ama have chorer reshut yachid. V'chorer reshut yachid k'reshut yachid amu. Right? It's like the holes of Reshut Yachid. You have in the wall, right? In the old days, many times they would make, when they wanted closet space, the walls were thick, right? So you carve out a little bit and you have a cabinet. In the old city, some of the old houses, the walls are 3-4 feet thick. You want to extend? Burrow into the wall. So, you have your house, the walls are thick, you have a hole in the wall. That hole doesn't have 10 or anything, but that's a Reshut Yachid. Hore Reshut Yachid, Reshut Yachid. So this guy's whole house is a hor of the middle, which is a Reshut Yachid. Right? We learned. Tosafot has a question. Tosafot's question is, your wall is not all in one place. Let's say the inside was 7, and he dug another 3, right? So he has a wall in 2 spots, 3 over here and 7 over here. Who says they combine? Is there a maximum distance between them, or do we say no? Listen, this guy has 10 between him and Reshut Rabim. He's okay. That's the question. Tosafot asked the question. He said, so what's the problem? I have 10. He said, yeah, but in Masechet Sukkah, you have a similar case. Let's say you have a Sukkah that the inside is is less than 10, right? So I went and I dug down. It says that the dig down has to be within 3 from the wall. So why over here don't I say that? So Tosafot says, no, it says by Sukkah it's a special din. It's not because you don't have a wall. By Sukkah there's a law that the wall has to be near the skach. And if the 3 is too far, it's not near the skach. Masha'enkim by Reshut Rabim, there's no such law. There's another answer that says over here anyway you have 10 in one place because the top is 10. I have 10, it's just not 10 for me. I don't need a wall. Right? I don't need a wall. There's a wall of 10. The 10 didn't affect me because my head is bumping the ceiling. Once my head stops bumping, I can use the outside wall. That's the other opinion. Okay. The Gemara says, the Itmar we learned, Horeh Reshut HaYachid Kirshut HaYachid. The holes of the Reshut HaYachid are like a Reshut HaYachid. Horeh Reshut HaRabim, the holes of the Reshut HaRabim. Abaye Amar Kirshut HaRabim Damu. He holds they like a Reshut HaRabim. Rabba Amar Lav Kirshut HaRabim Damu. They're not like Reshut HaRabim. Amar Le Rashi Lav Kirshut HaRabim Damu. Ela Reshut LeAtzman Hen. They're their own Reshut. The Imre Havim Dalit if they're 4x4 and under 10. Have clearly they're under 10 if they're open to Reshut HaRabim. Have a Carmelit. Ve'ilo have a Mekom Petur. Amal le Rava le Abaye. Lididach, according to you, the Amart Horeh Reshut HaRabim Kirshut HaRabim Dami. That you say that the holes of the Reshut HaRabim are considered Reshut HaRabim. Ma'ishna meha dechiyatar avdi mi Amar Rabbi Yochanan lo netzrecha ela lekeren zavit hasmuchal Reshut HaRabim. He said that the Carmelit of our Mishnah, of the Braita, that said the Carmelit is coming to include the corner next to Reshut HaRabim. And you tell me why it's a Carmelit. Why? Let it be Horeh Reshut HaRabim. Let it be the hole next to the guy has in his house, he has a whole area. You tell me, oh, that's his closet. That's his Horeh Reshut HaYachid. So there's an area open next to the Reshut HaRabim. Even though people don't walk there straight, let it be a Horeh Reshut HaRabim that people will use. And let it be Hayav. V'tehevek Horeh Reshut HaRabim. Says, no, Hatam lo nichatash mishteh. What's he going to use it for? Haga nichatash mishteh. You have a hole in the wall. The people in the Reshut HaRabim, when they need to leave something, they'll put it there. They'll go and they'll come back and take it. It's too obvious, but you're going to leave your thing open there. People are going to take it. And the hole in the wall, they're not going to see it. So the Gemara here's another question. Tenan, Hazorek Dal Ramot Bakotel. The Mishnah we quoted before. If you throw 4 amot in the shooter, the beam lands on the wall. Lemala me'asara above 10 kezorek ba'avir. You threw it in the air because it's about the shooter beam only goes up to 10 tefachim. So above 10, it's landing in mekom petur. Lemata me'asara tefachim. If it lands on the wall under 10 tefachim, kezorek ba'aretz. That's like you threw it and it landed on the ground. Like we said before, that as long as it's landing on the side of the wall, right? As long as it's landing on the side, it's still in the Reshut HaRabim. It's like it landed in the Reshut HaRabim. It's like it's same as landing on the ground. You know, that's a Mishnah. Mishnah is talking about throwing. So, A, you chayav if you throw 4 amot in Reshut HaRabim. B, now we're teaching you chidushim. Reshut HaRabim only goes up to 10. Right? And under 10, even though if it was a flat thing, like we said, the brick, if it lands on top, it's going to be patur, because the brick became something else. But when it lands on the side, it's like it landed in the Reshut HaRabim. That's the chidush that Mishnah is teaching you. Now we're going to nitpick based on what the Gemara, on the ukimta that the Gemara has. We'll see if we can prove the difference between Abaye and Rava. So the Gemara says, "Ve'amar Rabbi Yova."
Questions of Dalit al Dalit on that case.
Where? No. Wow.
Because in the Reshut HaRabim, obviously you're not counting it as being munach on this Dalit al Dalit, because this Dalit al Dalit.
What Dalit al?
Reshut HaRabim. So therefore you're counting it as.
Very good. It's
suspended in the air like
landing.
a Buddha.
That's a mahloket. Some say the wall face of the wall is dalet al dalet. Some say the floor is dalet al dalet. Whatever you want.
So then how could you say that Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold the kluta? Just say the floor is dalet al dalet.
Good question. That's we talk those kind of things. Okay. So the Gemara says, Tanan azorek dal ramot bakotel lemala me'asara kezorek ba'avir. Lemata me'asara tefachim kezorek ba'aretz. Va'avinam ba'amai kezorek ba'aretz. V'halonach. How did it land? How does it land on the wall? Ve'amar Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan said, B'dvila shemena shanu. We're talking about a fatty date, that it's sticky, and when you threw it, it stuck to the wall. What do you need that for? If you think Chori Reshut Harabim, Kirshut Harabim Damu, if you think that the whole of the Reshut Harabim is also a Reshut Harabim, Lama Leila Ukme B'dvila. Now, what do you have to limit it and say it's talking about a sticky date? Lukme B'tzror. Let him talk about a rock, the hefetz or a pen or keys, and you threw it and it landed in the hole in the wall. And it's not a karmelit, it's Chori Reshut Harabim. Right? B'tzror v'hefetz udenach b'chor. That was the question that they asked Abaya. Zimnin mishani la. Sometimes he answered it. Shani tzror v'hefetz demehader ve'ati. Says it's not practical. You throw a pen till it lands in the hole. You have to be some type of sharpshooter. Generally, it flies back. It's going to bounce off. It's not going to land. Mashenkin the devela, he's like silly putty. It lands on the wall and stick. Or goo, not silly putty, the goop stuff, right? Sticky stuff.
The sticky toys that you give to
Right, to the kids, those gross things. They make them, okay.
All body parts, the hard.
Ve'ati zimnin. So happy. So, go get to the Gemara. Ve'ati. That's one answer. Zimnin mishani la. Sometimes he answered him, no, we're talking bekotel delet behor. There's no hole on this wall.
Yeah, but that means like you have to make an ukimta so that I don't have to make another ukimta. It's weird.
What?
In other words, the question is why are you being mukim the case in Tvela Shemena, which is already an ukimta in the case. So he's going to say no because I'm making another ukimta, so therefore I have to make this.
Oh no, he's going to say, Mimai, why are you assuming there's no hole? Mi de katani reisha, because in the reisha it says, Zarak lemala me'asarat vachim kezorek ba'avir. If he threw above 10, it's like he threw it in the air. V'isal kadaitach bekotel di'it behor. If you're saying that we're talking about a wall that has a hole in it and it's landing in a hole, so you're back to your case. You threw your pen and it landed exactly in the hole. So you'll say above 10 it's mekom petur. Below 10 is Reshut Harabim and Hayav, because I hold Chori Reshut Harabim is like Reshut Harabim, right? Amai, why? Kizorek ba'avir. Why is it like Zorek ba'avir? Hanach b'chor, it landed in Chor. And above 10, let the Chor be Reshut Yachid. V'chi teima matnitin delet be'dalet al daled. No, you know why the Chor is above 10 is not Reshut Yachid? Because it's not 4 by 4. So anything that's less than 4 by 4 is by definition mekom petur. So not exactly. V'ha'amar Rabbi Yehuda amar Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Rabbi Chia, Zarak lemala me'asarat tefachim. If you threw something above 10 tefachim, v'halchan it went, v'nacha b'chor kolshu, it landed in a small hole that's less than 4 by 4. Banu lemachloket Rabbi Meir v'Rabbanan. That's talui in machloket Rabbi Meir and Rabbanan, because the Rabbanan view the hole the way it is. It's 2 tefachim. It's 2 tefachim. Mekom petur. Right? The Rabbi Meir savar hokekin lehashlim. Rabbi Meir says we view if the thickness of the wall is 10 tefachim and the hole is 2 tefachim, we imagine as if you hollowed out a 4 by 4, and it's considered a Reshut Yachid.
Why isn't it like the tree that has the branch sticking out that we?
This is over here. It's better than that. It's more than that.
No, so even according to Rabbi Meir, it should be.
I'm carving out the whole thing. It's going to be Reshut Yachid. I got 4.
Right, so
More, it's
the
much
guy who
more.
says it's not. It should be.
He doesn't hold like Rebbe. What's the big deal?
That's what you want to say. Want to cover?
No, Rebbe Meir holds. He holds it by mezuzah. He holds it all over. He holds chokikim lashlim. He holds it. They make it by paseh bira. A lot of places Rebbe Meir chokikim lashlim. So I'm allowed to view a solid thing as if it's carved out to be whatever shape I want it to be. I view it as solid and as carved at the same time. So now you want, and our Mishnah, Stam Mishnah is Rabbi Meir. So if you're talking about a kotel, and the way it's landing is because there's a hor, you're going to get in trouble in the top part of the Mishnah when it's above 10.
Where are you being chokek?
In the
Which
hole.
surface?
You have this wall, right? It's a thick wall. Walls are thick, right? Now it landed in that little hole. You should be chokek out the hole, the surface of the hole, to a depth of 4 tifachim and make it a shutei yachid. And be chayav, and you're not going to be patur.
The whole wall is already 4x4.
Right, but the hole is not.
The top of the wall is a shutei.
Correct.
So the side.
Side is not. Side is not. If the side is facing the Reshut Rabim. If it lands on the side, you're okay. But because there's a hole and it went in, Abai is telling you the hole is Reshut Yachid, Reshut Rabim. In the Reshut Rabim, we're not going to say Chokikim for some reason. But because it's Chorer, even if it's bigger, it's still Chorer Reshut Rabim.
It's 4x4 anyway. Here.
What do you mean?
It's already Reshut Yachid.
Where's Reshut Yachid? The top is Reshut Yachid. The top is Reshut Yachid. Up here is Reshut Yachid. This is the wall of your. Let's say you're walking, Jack. You're walking down the Reshut Rabim, and the wall of the house is right here. If you throw something on there and it lands there, it's sticking out over the Reshut Rabim, right? That's chayav. That's chayav. Now we want to say that if there's a hole, that's the machloket Abai and Ava. There's a hole in this wall, under 10. Before that, the machloket is under 10. Chorer Reshut Rabim. The hole under 10. Do I say, since people Reshut Rabim could stick their stuff there, they could use it. It's considered Reshut Rabim or not? Abaye says yes, Rava says no. So Rava told Abaye, so why do you have to say the devela stuck to the wall? Let him say that it laid into the hole over there. And Reshut Rabim.
Why was it inside? No.
Abaye says, Chorer Reshut Rabim is like Reshut Rabim. He says, because there's no holes in this wall. He says, why is there no holes in the wall? It's because if there's holes in the wall, when you go above 10, according to Rabbi Meir, that hor is going to be Reshut Yachid.
Why? Because normally people would stick.
Because we hold Chokikim Lashlim. Because when you go.
But why above is Reshut Yachid and below is Reshut?
Because by definition, above 10.
Nobody's using it.
No, above 10 is not Reshut Rabim.
Malcolm too, so it should be Malcolm too.
Very good. But when you have 4x4 above 10.
Why can't you have
Just
him
say
sleep
that the
under
wall's
10?
not dollar al dollar. The same way you were mukim that it was
No.
smooth. I could be mukim that it's a wall that's not dollar al dollar.
So then it's a Mikom Petur. I mean, then it's you're right.
Right?
That's general walls, 4x4.
So see, there's two arguments. One that says it's not 4x4, it's still Reshut Yachid. One that says it's not 4x4, it's Malcolm Patur.
If it's not 4x4, I mean the hole, right? But the one that holds it to the Reshut Yachid is Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir is the author of the Mishnah, so you can have a problem. So therefore, better to say, right? Let me just get to the two dots. 1 second. V'Rabanan savri el shlav shma mina bekotel delet behor shma mina. Okay, we'll leave it over here. Yes, Billy. What do you want?